Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Daily Gwei Refuel, where we recap the latest news in the Ethereum ecosystem. I'm your host, Anthony Sassano, and it's the 6th of June, 2024. Alright everyone, let's get into it. So, of course, you will have noticed that the beard is no more. I shaved my beard off yesterday after I actually recorded yesterday's refuel, and I did say that I shaved it on Twitter and that there'd be a face reveal today, actually, on today's episode. The funny thing is the last time I shaved my beard off and kept my mustache was about 3 years ago. I actually went back and looked and I posted about it on Twitter, and at that point in time, ETH was crashing pretty hard. It was June 2021. It was after the first top in May of 2021 of the market there, and then from there ETH dumped a little bit more and then went up only to the new all-time high in November 2021. And so I looked at that, I'm like, okay, if I shave my beard now, will that give ETH enough energy to go to all-time highs and beyond? And I think it will. So it's wartime ETH bull mode for Sassel here. But yeah, I know it's a little bit striking and weird if people haven't seen me without a beard before. I don't know if I'm going to keep this look or not, but every so often I like to shave it just to see what the skin's looking like underneath and see what my face is looking like underneath, because I do forget over time. But yeah, that's basically the reason why I did it there. And also, you may have noticed that I'm not wearing headphones in today's episode. Honestly, I don't know why I've worn headphones on the episodes that I've recorded, considering that I'm not talking to anyone and nothing's coming through my speakers. So it's really just me speaking to you guys. So for so long, I've just had that habit of putting my headphones on for some reason, but no longer, I don't think. I actually don't like wearing my headphones generally anyway. I'm not wearing them most of the time. I only really wear them on calls and for the refuel. But yeah, I don't think I'll be wearing them on the refuel anymore. But with that kind of housekeeping out of the way, let's jump into a bunch of the stuff that I wanted to talk about from the last 24 hours. So the big thing is still, I think, the ETH ETF. There's not much fanfare around the ETH ETF generally right now, I think, compared to what there was around the BTC ETFs, because there just hasn't been any movement on the S1 forms, or not much movement on those forms. And also, I think that, any of the fanfare that you're seeing, people are meeting with bearish resistance. And I explained why yesterday, or some of the cases why yesterday. I think the big question people have is what the flows are going to look like. Are they going to be 50% of BTC? Are they going to be 30%? Are they going to be more? And as I discussed yesterday, I think they're going to be, it'll probably settle around the 30% mark because of the fact that that's the market cap differential there. But I do think over time they'll ramp up to end up being more than BTC flows, simply because there are just so many different ways to sell ETH as an asset to potential customers or potential clients or existing clients than there is to sell BTC. Really, the only, I guess, value prop, and this is obviously a strong value prop, but the only kind of marketing spiel that you can give to BTC is that it is an alternative store of value. It is a digital gold, and that's about it, right? And I know some people will come at me and say, no, Bitcoin's more than that. You can build things on Bitcoin these days, so on and so forth. But I think that's all noise. I think that the core value prop, and the one that these institutions are using for BTC, is that it is a store of value digital gold sort of thing. But when it comes to ETH, it's so much more than that, obviously, right? We have the store of value kind of alternative store of value play there. I think that's played out quite nicely so far. You could, in these marketing kind of decks that the institutions are going to send out to their clients for the ETFs, they're probably going to show ETH's performance over time and basically say, hey, it's been up only. I mean, we're only a few kind of pumps away from all-time high at this point, and we'll probably be at all-time high before the ETFs even go live. At least I think so. So from that perspective, you've got the store of value narrative, but then you have the entire tech play narrative, right, which is very, very hot right now and will continue to be hot because tech is and has been the hottest thing, not only in the markets, but in the world for decades now, right? And then it's on the heels of the NVIDIA stuff going crazy. It's on the heels of just AI as well, and how they can shill ETH as AI money. It doesn't even matter if it doesn't really pan out. It will make too much sense. We're talking about marketing speak here and shilling, and that's exactly what they're going to be doing, because these institutions with these ETF products, it's a product, right? They want to sell this product, and the way you sell a product is through marketing. So that's definitely what they're going to be doing. And obviously there is the yield portion to it as well. Don't know how hard they're going to go on that, given that none of these ETFs are going to be staked. So that's probably going to be something that's in the back burner for a little while. And then of course there's the deflationary aspect of ETH as well. The fact that ETH has been net deflationary for quite a while now. Yes, there are periods of inflation, but if you look at on the year-on-year basis, it has been net deflationary, and that is going to be marketed as well. So there are just so many different ways to market ETH as an asset. And then once we have staked ETH ETFs, there's just another way to do that. So I think that as the two broad umbrellas here, it will be marketed as a alternative store of value and marketed as a tech play, a technology platform. Basically, hey, invest in Ethereum to invest in a new technology platform, basically. And there could be a third aspect to this as well that may fall into the alternative store of value side of things, but I think can actually be put in its own distinct third category, which is something I haven't mentioned yet, but all about the tokenization and DeFi and on-chain finance stuff that's going on, obviously, on top of Ethereum and its respective L2s. That alone is another kind of category that can be shielded alongside the other two. So essentially it becomes buy ETH because it's a store of value. Here's the chart to show that, right? It's been very, very strong over many years now. And here's all the stuff that makes Ethereum a very interesting technology platform and show its growth over time, active users, right, fees, so on and so forth. And then thirdly, show what new products are being enabled in the financial realm of things with things like tokenization that will enable a better and more connected world when it comes to transferring money, transferring value, doing payments, all those sorts of things. So those three things I expect to be hit on really, really hard when these ETF issuers go out to the market with their ETFs and say, hey, buy our ETH ETF and get exposure to all of this stuff. And it is so much more than what you can get with BTC, because you can't even shield BTC as a payments thing, because you can do payments in BTC, but you really can only do them at layer one. Lightning Network is a failure. There's no real L2s on Bitcoin. They're all side chains. And it's very expensive to transact there. Whereas and of course you've got the digital gold narrative, but then you can't say that Bitcoin is building an alternative financial system because it's not. There's no staking in Bitcoin, so you can't say to people, hey, you can stake your BTC and earn a yield. You can't get any of the fee revenue coming to you because there's no staking, right? You don't get a share in the network. There is no burning of the fee revenue either, so there's no deflationary BTC. So I don't know. I just feel like it's so much easier and so much more exciting to shill ETH than it is to shill BTC. And that's why I believe longer term, the ETH ETFs are going to get more flows in than the BTC ETFs, because there's just so many different reasons for money to come in. Because there's a lot of people who will just not touch anything got to do, or not invest in anything got to do with quote unquote store of value, or as its only single value prop. There are a lot of people who don't buy gold and don't want gold. Yes, gold has historically been very strong as, as a store of value, but people don't want to buy gold. They want to buy the hottest tech stock, or they want to buy something that gives them exposure to a new technology platform or a new finance platform or something really fast growing. And then obviously there's the store of value folks as well. But like, if you're going to buy a store of value and you're someone who likes buying a store of value, why not just buy ETH? Because you get all this other stuff as well as the store of value aspect as well. So there's so much going on here, guys. There's so much to be excited about when it comes to ETH as an asset. And I'm sure that BlackRock and others are getting those marketing machines ready to do the ultimate shilling, as I like to call it there. But the reason why I'm talking about the ETFs again today, or at least the main reason, was this tweet that I have in front of me, which is all about the launch timing of the ETFs. Now, I talked about this yesterday. I speculated on this yesterday. Today, I want to make a concrete prediction of when these things are going to go live, so I can come back on this and be like, hey, I was right, or hey, I was wrong. I'm not just trying to make new predictions because I was right about May 23rd. It's not that. I just like making predictions generally. You guys know this. I like seeing out in advance and seeing if I get it right or not, not for my ego, but just for the fun of it, right? So I'm going to make the prediction here that I think that the ETH ETFs will go live in early July. Now, obviously, I'm leaving the leaving it open there. I'm not giving you a specific date. It's kind of very hard to give a specific date there. So I'm saying between July 1st and July 10th. That's my range. So early July. Maybe it happens in late June, but I'm not seeing it right now. So early July, between July 1st and July 10th, I think is a really nice area for them to launch. I mean, I think I said this yesterday, but I wanted to be more concrete about it and say that I think early July is the way. Now, the cool thing about this is that ETH ETFs are going to be launching into fresh BTC all-time highs, probably fresh ETH all-time highs, a really hot stock market generally, rates being cut. I don't know if you guys saw today, I think it was in Canada, the Canadian Central Bank cut rates for the first time in a while. The ECB, I think, is expected to cut rates today, and then the US rates will probably be cut in a couple months' time or something like that. I don't know when the next Fed meeting is. I don't follow it that closely. As you guys know, I don't really care too much about macro stuff, but I mean, it does have an effect to some extent, but I think that it doesn't have the effect that people think it does. I think that the market price is in the effect pretty well in advance, but at the same time, it depends on how low the rates go and how long they're going to go low for. I do think we're just going to go into another expansion phase here for the next few years, just generally as a as a macro trend, which is going to be a huge tailwind for crypto as well. So the ETH ETFs are launching into that, guys, and they're launching into an environment where it's going to be very easy to shill it, that's for sure, and very easy to get flows. So I'm very excited to see how that all kind of plays out there. Now, there's one other thing on the ETF stuff that I wanted to talk about, which was regards to this tweet from Nate Geraci here, who's been following along with the ETF, the ETH ETF stuff for a while, and he was one of the only people, alongside me, of course, that thought that the ETFs were going to get approved on May 23rd. Now, we both didn't necessarily think they were going to get approved based on political stuff. I know that people speculated that it was based on political stuff in the end, but there was some quotes from Gary Gensler today, actually, that Nate shares here, that basically Gensler is sticking to the story that the rationale for the approvals of the ETH ETFs was the Grayscale lawsuit victory. So essentially what was argued by me and by the others who were kind of pro-ETH ETF getting approved was essentially that the SEC was in checkmate. There was no way that they would be able to deny the ETH ETFs without looking without looking completely ridiculous and also getting sued to hell, because they had already lost the same lawsuit that they were going to potentially fight, will definitely fight if they had denied the ETH ETFs with Grayscale back in October, and then everything that fell off of that. So we do have pretty, I guess, like, good confirmation here from the horse's mouth. I mean, I know that generally we don't kind of like trust Gensler on these things. Maybe it was a political kind of pressure here, but I think that the Grayscale suit definitely played a huge part as well. Without that, I don't know if the political pressure would have counted for anything really. And we did see recently that the political shift wasn't as strong as we thought it was, with Biden kind of vetoing the Fit 21 thing. But there has been a shift, as I discussed yesterday. But generally, yeah, it just seems like the ETH ETFs were approved begrudgingly, obviously, by the SEC, because of the fact that they knew they were going to get sued again. They knew they were in checkmate. And this is exactly what I speculated on months ago. So it's great to see more confirmation on that point here. All right, moving on to non-ETF related stuff. So I forgot to cover this a few days ago. So this came out on June 1st, and this is a report that StakeCat put out all about solo stakers. So why I wanted to talk about this report is because it is very, very bullish. Now, this is an article that was shared on Twitter here, which I'll link in the YouTube description below. But the TLDR of this article is basically that there are more solo stakers than we had previously thought. So from memory, reading through this, I read through it again today, the range of estimated solo staker percentage of the network, and this includes Rocket Pool node operators, is between 10 and 20% of the total stake on the network belongs to solo stakers here. So that is more than the 7% that Radar.network kind of put out. I think it was like last year they put out this report saying it was 7%, and it is quite a big range. So if we just take the bottom of the range though, 10%, that is still more than that 7% that we have. And the trend, according to this report from StakeCat, seems to still be up over time. Of course, it is not like up massively. It's not like it's mooning or anything like that. And the market share of solo stakers did end up coming down from Genesis, obviously, because more and more people come online staking through other means. But I think that's incredibly bullish, guys. I've always said that anything between 5 to 10% on the solo staker side of things is probably like what we're going to be, I guess, like for the terminal rate of solo stakers, just because of the fact that the capital requirement is so large. Like, to be a true solo staker is over $100,000 now, guys. 32 ETH, $100,000. And even if we were to reduce that to 4 ETH, right? If we were to reduce that 32 ETH to 4 ETH, it would still be out of reach for most people. That's over 10 grand. And if we reduce that to 2 ETH, it's still more. And then we expect ETH to go up over time. And then, as I've gone through before on the refuel, there is a limit to this, how low you can do it, because then you've got the hardware cost on top of that, and then you've got the expected rate of return to cover the initial upfront costs outside of ETH, the depreciating cost. So the actual cost of the hardware, not the ETH that you expect to appreciate, right? And also in this report, it highlights that solo stakers are definitely more long-term oriented, which I think is not a new insight. It's definitely not something of a revelation, right? But it's definitely good to get confirmation on that point, because of the fact that when it comes to solo staking, you're not only in it for the yield, but you're also in it for the appreciation of ETH. You're buying ETH as a kind of like bond, I guess, and then you're basically saying, okay, well, I want to yield on this thing, so I'm going to go stake it. And if you're doing it as a solo staker, it's because you want the maximum amount of the largest reward for the lowest risk in staking, and that is definitely solo staking, and that's what you're doing here. Now, of course, you are putting up front, if you were to solo stake today, you are putting up $100,000+ to buy the 32 ETH to get a, 3 to 4% yield right now. Obviously, that yield is not going to cover that cost for a very, very long time, if ever. But what you're expecting is that you're going to get the extra, basically just bonus on that ETH, on your ETH stake, and then the ETH's going to go up against USD over time, which has historically been true. So I think when it comes to solo staking, it's really just people wanting to get exposure to ETH and get more ETH with their exposure of ETH because they expect it to go up. If they didn't expect it to go up over time, I think that'd be a lot, they wouldn't stake, really. I don't think people would really stay a solo stake. I think they'd go with other providers here, but I think that's a big part of solo staking there. But you can go give this report a read for yourself. It's really detailed. It's got a bunch of nice, pretty pictures and graphs and charts and things. So you can go check that out. I'll link it in the YouTube description below. And there's also the key takeaways down the bottom here, which I kind of went through a little bit on here. If you just wanted to read that. They did touch on Eigenlayer and its future potential effects on solo stakers as well, but great to see this report here. So I think going forward, I'm probably going to go off the working assumption that the total solo stakers is 10%. I like taking the bottom of the range rather than the midpoint, because the bottom is closer to Rated.network 7% as well. Because if I say, okay, let's take the midpoint and it's at 15%, I don't know. I don't think that I think that's too much on the estimation side of things. And StakeCat actually notes in this report that it is extremely difficult to get an accurate picture here. That's why the range is so big. So I think we can safely say 10%, obviously including rocket pool node operators as well, which are solo stakers as defined. I believe they linked to Nixo from eStakers post on this as well there. But that's great. I actually think that's really healthy. I think it leads to a really healthy and decentralized Ethereum network to have 10% of the entire network basically be pure kind of solo staking, not staking with LST or an LRT or an exchange or anything like that. And really the staking ecosystem has just gotten so much healthier over time. I mean, Lido is at, I think, 29% market share. So they've kind of plateaued there for a little bit. And then you have other players just coming online and growing more in market share as well. And it's just been great. It's been great to see that distribution there on that front. But you can go give this StakeCat post a read. I'll link it in the YouTube description below for you to do so. All right, Nethermind has a big release out today. So if you are running the Nethermind client, this is something that you would be interested in. So they say here, Nethermind version 1.25 was fast, but the upcoming Nethermind version 1.27 client is 3.7 times faster on your existing hardware, which equals improved attestation rates for all. So you can see in this diagram here what the kind of bump looks like. This is a huge bump, guys, in terms of the megagas per second throughput on the same level of hardware from Nethermind here. And it's great to see that they're continuing to optimize the Nethermind clients. You can read more about this on Twitter here, but the reason why I'm highlighting it is because if you are still on Geth, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to still be on Geth, because if you go to clientdiversity.org and look at other potential client diversity dashboards here, Geth is well and truly below the 66% supermajority threshold. Nethermind is second place at 28% right now, but if you wanted to still get off Geth and wanted to do the work to get Geth below 50%, then Nethermind is probably the client. I mean, it was at this point, it's definitely the client that I would recommend second to Geth here when you're kind of staking. I run Nethermind, have been running it for quite a while, never had any issues with it, but I know some people have had issues in the past, especially around performance, but they've been optimizing this for quite a while now, and it runs great. I mean, it runs really great on my hardware. I think it would run great on yours as well. It should run on the low-end hardware as well, so maybe this is something you want to check out for yourself. But the new client version, I don't think is available just yet, but it is coming soon. So it's great to see them continuing to work on that. And yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on that one there. All right, so it is finally here. Coinbase's Smart Wallet has been launched today. So you can create your Smart Wallet if you go to this URL, which is wallet.coinbase.com/smart-wallet. Please make sure you're on the correct URL before creating a Smart Wallet or doing anything with regards to wallets, because there are obviously phishing links everywhere. You can go to the tweet. I'll link it in the YouTube description below if you want to go to the correct link. But essentially what you do is you click create a smart wallet here, and then you can't see this on my screen, but it pops up with a little pop-up. It's called a smart wallet. And if I go here and Sorry, just one sec here. If I go to create smart wallet again, here we go. Create a smart wallet. You can't see this on my screen. It's frustrating, but create a smart wallet. And then what it essentially is going to pop up with is, because I'm on Windows, it's going to ask me to authenticate to get into this. So I'm going to authenticate here with my password on my Windows PC. It's currently creating my wallet. So it's saved the pass key on my Windows device here through Windows Hello. I'm just waiting for it to process on my end, and there you go. You're already set up. This is your wallet created. You have now created a Ethereum wallet, basically, or I guess like it's a Coinbase Smart Wallet, so it does support multiple chains here, but really it's Ethereum-based L2s is the thing that definitely is going to be what people use here. So this is really cool, guys. I mean, I've talked about this before, but the reason why this is so cool is because you'll notice, I know you didn't see the pop-up, but you'll notice that I was not presented, and I wasn't, I'm not lying about this, I wasn't presented with a seed phrase. I wasn't presented with the create wallet button on, like, you know, on normal wallets that we're used to. I wasn't presented with weird characters of wallets or anything like that. What I was presented with was just a nice, easy to use 2-click interface to create a new wallet, saves it to my existing hardware. If it was on iPhone, it would be onto the secure enclave that powers Face ID. If it was on Android, it would be whatever their version is. I've forgotten the name of it right now. It doesn't matter what device you're on, it's using this. And then it's cross-device as well. This part, especially if it's on Apple devices, it'll save it into, or back it up into iCloud, and using the secure backup, and then you'll be able to access it on different devices there. This is mass adoption in a nutshell, guys. This is how we get mass adoption. And I know that I've been a fan of other wallets in the past, and I definitely still am. Like Rabby, still a huge fan of Rainbow Wallet. Though, you know, there are many other good wallets out there, not just Coinbase Wallet. But I think Coinbase Wallet with their smart wallet here has done the, I guess, most so far to simplify it. I think the other wallets are doing it, are getting there, but they're more power user wallets, I would say, or at least like more involved user wallets than what Coinbase has done. Coinbase is definitely going for the normies, right? The people that we call normies, the everyday fair weather crypto folks, the ones who are going to get a lot of value out of what we're building, but don't necessarily want to be in crypto or like learn crypto things. They just want to use things. Just like today with the internet, if you want to get connected, you basically go and get a mobile plan, right? Or you go and get an internet connection in your home, and then you have a Windows PC or a Mac, and then you go on a web browser, you go to Facebook, you go to Twitter, you go to YouTube, and away you go. There's no complex setting up things, putting in IP addresses, you know, connecting to things like with dial-up and stuff like that, right? It's all very seamless today. There's no complexities to it. It's really just like 2 clicks for basically everything. And I talked about this before, how the 2-click thing is the holy grail. It really is when you think about this stuff, and that's exactly what Coinbase has done here. Now, of course, the golden child of Coinbase is Base, and what they're going to be doing with their smart wallet, I don't think this is live yet, but it's going to be live soon, is, as I've discussed before, everything that you have on Coinbase, all of your assets or compatible assets, so basically Ethereum-based assets that you have on Coinbase, will be able to be used on, I guess, like Ethereum and on Base and potentially other L2s without the need to bridge them out of Coinbase, essentially. Now, this is a huge unlock because obviously it means that we've eliminated the extra step of bridging. I know you may think that that step is not hard. I don't think it's hard. I think it's very, very easy to withdraw assets from an exchange and send them to your wallet and then do stuff on chain. But that's me as a very power user, and you guys as probably power users as well. But if we think of it from the new user perspective, they don't want to learn any of that. They don't want to learn what even withdrawing assets is. They care about withdrawing cash to their bank account, sure, but I don't think they want to learn about withdrawing crypto to the right chain or withdrawing crypto to the chain that they want to do stuff on. What they want to do is have their wallet in front of them, know how much money they have, and go find interesting apps, whether that's Uniswap, whether that's like something like Firecaster, whether that's buying an NFT. They just want to do that. And that's what we need to be optimizing for to bring the world on chain. We're never going to bring the world on chain if we're asking people to jump through all these hoops. Even if those hoops may seem trivial to us, to the everyday person, they're going to be massive. Even with the internet today, like things that I feel are extremely trivial about computers and the internet, and basically like just that I think is common knowledge, even with people my age or younger than me, who you expect to be, I guess, like more up to date with these things. No, they're living, most of them live in the world where everything is just made seamless for them, and that's the way it should be. Just like when I go, actually recently with my And my surgery that I had, I haven't ever had proper surgery before. I've only really had my tonsils removed, my wisdom teeth removed, and one other thing that wasn't a proper surgery. So this is my first time having proper surgery, and just the whole process was so smooth. I don't know what it's like in your countries, guys. I know it varies country to country here, but in Australia, it's pretty good. The whole process was incredibly smooth, and I'll get to my point here in a sec of why I'm explaining this. But essentially, from when I got to the hospital to when I was discharged the next day, I didn't have to worry about anything. I felt extremely looked after. I felt cared for. I didn't have to know about anything. I didn't have to know about what was happening. It was just all handled for me. That's a kind of level of service from something as complex as a surgery. I didn't need to know anything else. I didn't really need to know anything besides, hey, don't do this for a few weeks. Don't lift heavy weights for a few weeks or something like that, right? And this is the recovery plan for you. Very straightforward, kind of simple, streamlined thing. Very nice, very easy to do there. And my point here is that that's an area that I have no expertise in at all. I know zero about it. I know nothing about the medical industry at all, right? or really much about general kind of medical stuff. I'm obviously not a surgeon. I never studied medicine. None of that. But the golden kind of thing here is I don't need to know any of that, and I still feel like I get a really good experience, seamless experience, and it's just easy. The same is going to be true for anything in life, and in relevance to this, the same is going to be true for coming on chain. The people aren't going to need to know about all the stuff that we know about and find interesting, whether only if they want to, they can learn about it. If they don't care for it, they don't have time for it, they can still get immense value out of it, just like I got immense value out of the entire procedure that I had and the entire kind of experience that I had there without knowing anything in the back end. I knew nothing in the back end. I paid for it, on the day, and then everything was kind of seamless from there. That's exactly what's going to happen here. Maybe a little bit of a weird analogy, but something that I felt was relevant because it was relevant to me in my experience recently. But yeah, that's that one. And I think that's going to be it for today. I think I'm almost at 30 minutes, a few minutes early, but hey, I'll end it there for today. So thank you everyone for listening and watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the newsletter, join the Discord channel, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Thanks everyone.